my tubes tied either 2012 or 2013. Really? She is teething, guys. So she is like, anything that comes near her mouth, she's like, ah. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, my name is Jasmine Kelly and I'm new to YouTube. So please make sure you subscribe right now. And don't forget to click the bell to be notified when I post new content. Also head over to my blog at jazzyvirtue.com and subscribe to our newsletter over there so that I can give you guys even more content. Girl, what are you doing? Today I'm going to be doing a sit down vlog with you guys, and as you can see, I have my little distraction right here, my baby girl Nuri Giselle, and this vlog is about her, so I thought that it would be a good idea to have her in it. I don't know if that was a good idea. I'm kind of second guessing that right now. Me and my husband decided to get a tubal reversal in September 2019. The place that I got my tubal reversal done is called A Personal Choice, which is located in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the doctor his name is Dr. Monteith, and he is really awesome. Like, I love the whole full experience. It was on the pricier side, but I feel like it was worth every penny because his hands are like really blessed. He was so informative about the procedure, and his website also has so much information on there. Any questions that you have, it's pretty much on the website. The experience, it was an experience. It wasn't just like, here, let me untie your tubes and then they throw you out to the wolves kind of thing. They really provided a full experience. They have certain hotels that they like for you to book at so that they can make sure that everything runs smooth and you aren't running late for your appointment. And the hotels that they have one, it's kind of on the pricier side. They also have some affordable hotels as well, and we stayed in one of the more affordable ones because the other one, which is called the Hyatt House, that one books up really fast, and so there was no room left, so they were like fully booked when we tried to book. So we stayed at Comfort Inn Suites. I think it was Comfort Inn Suites, but it was really clean and comfortable, and you know, we loved the location that it was in. There were restaurants and pharmacy nearby so that you can get your prescriptions and things like that, and we had to stay there. I think it was like, I had to stay there for 2 nights, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2 nights, the day before my procedure and also the day of my procedure, and I think I could check out the next day after. I think so. The procedure went so quick. It wasn't very invasive procedure. So yeah, I really enjoyed my experience with them. We have been wanting to get their procedure done for a couple of years now because we wanted to grow our family, but our finances just weren't at the right place. So once we finally got, you know, the money and things like that and got situated to be able to do that, we were like really, really excited. I had been praying on that, and then we finally was able to do it. So that was a blessing in itself, and we are just like so happy to have this little baby girl right here. I had the tubal reversal in September, and I got a positive pregnancy test in December. We were really surprised to get pregnant so soon. That was really truly a blessing. That it really was. My original plan for like my delivery, I wanted to have a water birth at home, but it did not work out that way. Being that I have what is called RH incompatibility, and I have been sensitized. I'll tell you all that. Basically, me and my husband's blood type are different. I think I'm RH positive and he's RH negative, or it may be the other way around, but either way, my babies had his blood type, and so my body basically would act like they are a foreign object and create antibodies to fight against this foreign object, and that's where the dangers come in. And so with your first pregnancy, it doesn't affect the first pregnancy. So with my son, I didn't have to go through any of that. I did have a I did have a hospital delivery with him as well, but with my first daughter, Kimora, um, that's when I started to see, that's when the antibodies and stuff had already formed and things like that. And you're supposed to get a shot called Rogam shot, but I never received it. So my antibodies were formed already and I was sensitized, and that's basically what that means. I had to see a specialist, and I was seeing the specialist, I think I was going like every week up until I delivered. Her case wasn't as severe because I didn't have as many antibodies formed by then. But by the time I got pregnant with Nuri, with baby girl right here, I had like a really, really high level of antibodies. And to be honest, I was so young at the time with my first daughter, I didn't realize the severity of it. And also because, it wasn't as severe with her. But, oh my God, my lash. So I didn't realize the severity of it with her. And so when I got pregnant again with her, I kind of I kind of wasn't thinking about it. So when I was seeing the midwife, and planning for a home birth and things like that, I didn't think about that. And so it wasn't until my labs came back. And let me tell you, I was already like, 4 or 5 months pregnant at the time. So when my labs came back and she was telling me I had, these dangerous levels of antibodies and that I was no longer eligible for home birth, oh my goodness, y'all, I was so heartbroken. Like, I literally cried. It took everything out of me to hold back my tears while I was on the phone and she was telling me this, and she was trying to console me and things. But when I hung up that phone, like, I really just boo-hoo crying because I had been planning for a home birth and I just wanted to do everything natural this go round. In my past pregnancies, I didn't get the epidural, but I did get, a little bit of medicine in my IV, and that helped a little with my contractions. But this time around, I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted a natural home birth and do, the home remedies and things like that. And so when I couldn't have that, it was just like, I was so sad. And then too, I was so far into my pregnancy that it was just like, oh my God, like, I was panicking. What are we going to do now? Like, we have to hurry up and come up with a completely different plan. And now I have to do this hospital birth that I don't even want to do. So yeah, my emotions were all over the place. It was so far into my pregnancy and I thought I had things. When I was younger, I didn't realize why people got so upset when I would be watching like the TLC birth stories and stuff. I'm like, they're so dramatic. Why are they so dramatic? Because their birth plan didn't go as planned and stuff. Because I didn't have a birth plan. I didn't really think about it because I was so young at the time. I just was not thinking about it. But this go round, I was older and I just really looked into, I was very particular about how I wanted things to go. And I realized that, yeah, like, it's a big deal when you have everything planned out and then they just don't go as planned. Where was I? I think I got. So we started scrambling, like, trying to find a specialist. Our midwife did recommend us to a specialist. And so I'm not sure if that was the same specialist that we went with. But, we were scrambling trying to find a specialist and trying to figure out how we were going to pay for it because I did not have health insurance at the time. When I left my job, I just let my health insurance like run out. So the home birth was more affordable if we paid out of pocket. So, it was like a win-win. I get my natural home water birth and, the cost was much better than if I was to go to to deliver in the hospital. And so, and then also with COVID, we were in the middle of a pandemic. So I definitely didn't want to go back and forth to, the doctor's office, and I didn't want to deliver in the hospital. I'm like, I don't want to be around that mess. It's hard enough being pregnant and during the pandemic, and it was just so much stress at the time. So when my birthing plan didn't go as planned, that's why I took it even harder, and then the stressful trying to find a specialist and everything at the last minute. I wanted a personable relationship with who would be delivering my baby, and that just didn't happen. Like when I tell you, nothing when it's planned, nothing when it's planned is pregnancy. So back to RH incompatibility, my high risk pregnancy, finding out that I was high risk and I was no longer eligible for home birth. I was heartbroken, but I had to like do something quick. So we ended up finding the specialist that we wanted to use and things like that. And it comes to find out that, my condition was worse, even worse than what we were saying, what we were thinking. So I had to get an ultrasound every single week, and I had 2 doctor's appointments a week up until birth. Every ultrasound we were holding our breath because, we didn't know if her levels would be dangerous. So that was really, really nerve-wracking. Having the doctors telling me that, she could have heart failure or that I would possibly have to deliver. And I definitely wasn't at a place where they felt that they could successfully deliver her without her having, complications. So that was really, really scary. It was scary. And, but I had so much faith in God at the same time. So, I would pray and things, and her level did get better, but then they ended up getting worse. I had to end up getting an intrauterine blood transfusion, and basically they had to stick this very long needle through my belly to get the blood to her. I had to get a spinal tap and everything, and that was nerve-wracking because I'm like, I don't want anybody poking anything in my spine. I didn't even want an epidural because I was just really afraid of, them messing with my spine and stuff like that. I mean, I'm like, I don't want to be paralyzed. What if I move? Like, I'm scared. I was so scared. So when she told me that, I just burst out crying. We were trying not to let it get to that point, but it had gotten to that point. And so if her body rejected the blood transfusion, then I would have to be prepared for them to do an emergency C-section. It was just so much going on at that time. And, I was really scared because I'm like, Lord, I want this baby so bad. I don't want anything to go wrong. I don't want anything to happen to her. I prayed for this baby for years, and I'm just like, okay, Lord, you promised me this baby. What is going on with the pandemic and just everything going on not only just with my own, health and things like that, but in the world in the middle of a pandemic and everything. It was just a combination of things that was like stressing me out this pregnancy. But at the same time, I really did enjoy my pregnancy. I really did, because it was such a blessing. And I was just like, I can't describe the feeling when I found out that I was pregnant. Oh my goodness, it was such a joy. Like, it was such a joy. I know that I had been promised this baby, and it was like, it is happening. Like, it's happening right now. I can't put into words all of the emotions that I was feeling. The blood transfusion took, and so her levels did get better, thank God. They decided that they were going to go ahead and schedule me for an induction. And so she ended up coming before the induction. So my due date was September 2nd, I believe, September 2nd or 4th. And then they scheduled my induction for August 12th, I believe it was like August 12th. And then she ended up coming July 30th. So yes, baby girl decided she wanted to come early. Like, homegirl was like, I'm ready to get out of here. I don't know what your body is doing. My water broke. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my water broke. And I never had my water to break naturally, so I didn't know what was going on. I thought it'd be clear liquid, but it was like pinkish. So I knew that there was blood, and I'm like, I'm thinking that something is wrong. And this was the night my husband had to work. So he was at work. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I put my knee up on the bed to, like, get up on the bed, I just felt like a gush. And I was like, what is that? Like, I just stopped. I was like, what is that? And then so when I went to go check, I noticed, this fluid coming out. And I'm like, oh my God, like, is something wrong? So I'm running around the house getting all of her things together. Like, I'm getting a car seat and the baby bag. Thank God I had already packed my bag, hospital bags. So I'm getting all that, and I'm sitting them by the stairs, and the dogs are in their crates, and they were crying and stuff because they were like, what is she doing? Like, they knew that something wasn't right. So it was just a crazy, bizarre night. And so I called my husband, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going into labor or if something is wrong, but like, you need to come on like now, like get here like 5 minutes ago. And so, I had to get the kids up, and I called my sister up, and I was like, I have to go to the hospital. So, can I drop the kids off over there? And of course she said yes. So my husband finally came, and like, we just loaded the car. He loaded the car up, and we took the kids to my sister's house and went to the hospital. And it took them, like, they were like so packed at the hospital. I waited in the waiting area what seemed like forever, and then they finally called me back to like the triage area, and I stayed there. I don't even know how long I stayed there before they actually admitted me, but they told me, they were like, I was in labor. So they finally gave me my room and stuff like that. And so yeah, it was just pretty much a waiting game. I had dilated a little bit, but then like, I wasn't really doing much. They went ahead and they did like the balloon thing, because I was like, I do not want Pitocin, because I had it with my daughter, with my first daughter, Kamora. I had to get induced with her, and they used Pitocin, and I think they used too much, and oh my God, y'all, the pain was unbearable. Like, I felt crazy. Like, I felt like I was out of my mind. Like, y'all should have seen me in there. Like, I acted a pure nut. But anyway, so I did not want Pitocin again. And so I was telling them, I was like, let's try, can we try everything before we try Pitocin? And so they were like, we could try the balloon. So we tried the balloon thing, and that got me to like 5 centimeters, I believe. And then it was like, I just stopped. And so they said they were going to put me on a Pitocin drip, but they were only going to try a little bit at first and then see how that goes. And, if that worked, then of course I wouldn't need more Pitocin. And so I was so nervous about that Pitocin. But they only did give me a little bit, and it worked, thank God. Because I was like, I do not feel like being crazy again. It's too much going on already. Like, I don't feel like fighting my husband up in here. He came pretty quick. After they gave me the Pitocin drip, I was like FaceTiming my mom and my sisters, because I just was so sad that they could not be there with me, because I could only have, one person in the delivery room because of COVID. So I was FaceTiming them. So every time I would get a contraction, I would just be like, I would drop the phone, and I would just like kind of breathe and stuff like that. And then I would just pick the phone up and start back talking. And they were just laughing at me like, girl, what in the world? But yeah, so not too long after that, it was time to push. I was like, I gotta pee. I feel like I gotta pee. No, like, really, I gotta pee. And they were just looking like, yeah, okay. And so, every time, like, every single one of my pregnancies and my labors and deliveries have been different. Like, I've dealt with different stuff, like symptoms with her pregnancy that I didn't deal with my other pregnancies. And like with delivery, like, I had never felt that feeling before, so I didn't know that it was time for me to push, because it didn't feel like that the other 2 times. So I thought I had to pee. I think I pushed like 3 times. I believe I pushed like 3 times, and then she was here, and the pain wasn't as bad as it was with Kamora, my first daughter, but it was painful, not gonna lie. But she came pretty quick, thank God for that. And when I saw her, when they held her up to me, it was just like, I was so relieved, so full of joy. Everything that I had went through throughout my pregnancy, like all of those emotions, like thinking, it was like everything just like, like a sigh of relief, because she was here, she was safe, she was healthy. And when I just saw her, I was like, look at this beautiful blessing. Like, I couldn't do anything but cry. Like, I just burst out crying, and I was like, she is so beautiful. She wasn't crying, so they did have to, I did grab her and I kissed her and things like that, but they had to take her, to the little setup, what is it called, the little incubator thing, and they had to like try to get her to breathe and get the fluid out of her lungs and stuff like that. So but they did, while they were cleaning up and everything, they let me hold her. So I just held her on my chest, and I was just like so relieved, and it just felt so good to have her in my arms. My girl, she is a fighter. Okay, her bilirubin levels weren't great, so they had to put her under like these little lights and stuff like that, and she did have to stay in the NICU for 4 days. Those are like the hardest 4 days of my life. Like the first day back home without her, I went home the next day because they were so packed that if you didn't have your baby in the room with you, like the mothers who had babies in the NICU, they moved us to different floors in the hospital, and I was definitely not comfortable with that. The nurse that they assigned me to, I was like on a cardiac floor or something like that, and she was really sweet. The nurses were sweet. The staff was the sweetest ever, like they really were. But they were like so overwhelmed and so booked that they had to make accommodations like that. But I was so uncomfortable, and I was just like, I just want my bed, but I didn't want to leave my baby. But with everything going on with COVID and stuff, I didn't feel comfortable with that. So I ended up going home. It might have been like the next day, I think. And let me tell you, that first day back home was so hard. Like that first night was really hard without her. I just cried because I was so used to laying down at night and feeling her little kicks until I fell asleep, and not having her in my arms and not feeling those kicks, it felt empty. And so, I didn't know how long she would be in the NICU, and I'm like, I don't know how many more nights I can take of this. So we would visit her every day at the NICU. We would go back, and we would like basically spend the whole day. We would go in. I would try to nurse her. And then we would go for lunch, and then I would come back and I would feed her. Like we would stay the whole day, because that was hard because we did have 2 other kids at home. So we were like trying to split our time. And I'm like, I don't know how long we're going to be able to go back and forth. This is a lot. It was a lot. And she did have problems latching. So when I tried to nurse her, she had problems latching. My girl, she got it together. And so now I exclusively nurse her, because pumping at the same time and nursing and pumping and nursing, it was just too much. Like I was so overwhelmed with it all. So I just decided to exclusively nurse her. That was easier for me. I love being a mother so much. I really do. My pregnancies, like I said in the beginning, my pregnancies were so different, like with the symptoms and things with her. I never understood why people spit while they're pregnant, but that was one of my pregnancy symptoms with her, was the spitting. It's like, now I understand, it's like a taste in your mouth, and if you swallow your saliva, you would get sick to your stomach. So you have, it's like, ew. I hated that. Like I would have taken the nausea any day, which I did have the nausea as well for a little bit. I think in my first semester I did have the nausea, and thank God it started to go away, but I still had a little bit of it, but it wasn't as bad. But that spitting was just, ugh, it was disgusting. But I just hope I never have to, when I think about it, I could taste it. I could still taste the taste in my mouth. It was a whirlwind, but I'm just so grateful to have my baby girl here and healthy and thriving. And I just cannot believe that my milk has gotten her to this size. Like when I first started nursing, I was so nervous that my milk supply would dry out, or that I wouldn't know if I'm feeding her enough. But you really, like, naturally, you get the hang of it. Like it just, like, I don't know, it just started to come natural, because Lord knows I struggled in the beginning. Like, I mean, everything that you can think of with like the struggles of nursing, I dealt with it, and so I'm just like so grateful that we are at a point now where we got in the swing of things, and I'm just like enjoying motherhood. I'm just so grateful that God blessed me with the children that I have. If you have watched this vlog this far, I just want to say thank you so much for sitting here and letting me share my journey with you guys. I really do appreciate those of you who watch my vlogs, who encourage me when I'm just like having crazy days. Thank you so much. I know I don't have a large following, but I really do appreciate you guys so much. And if you like this vlog, please give it a thumbs up and stay tuned until next time. Bye guys.